second wave feminism, and who would be on the forefront of that quote-unquote movement?
A second wave feminism. Well, obviously, Betty Friedan is the one who kicked it into motion when she founded the National Organization for Women, co-founded it in 1966. It was the first political organization devoted to women's rights since, in America, since women had won the right to vote in 1920. So she had a pivotal role in setting it forth. But then she herself quarreled, with other members of NOW, and she was eventually booted out of it, and part of it, one of her lists of, she's very abrasive personality, forceful personality. I admired her, but she could be unreasonable. And it was when she called, the young lesbians, the Lavender Menace, that there was this big revolt, against her. The book, when we look back at the Feminine Mystique, which was a surprise bestseller in 1963, when you look back at it, there are a lot of problems with it, such as there are no sources. The whole thing is unsourced. Right? And the list, the list of grievances and disasters that she says flowed, from women's, lack of professional opportunities in life and so on. I mean, it's everything. She lists cancers, body cankers. Every possible human disaster, every plague, like plagues of locusts, came from, and you feel the hysteria in the book. There's also things in it that are very surprising, such as she rejects abstract expressionism. Foreign films. It's a rather provincial, culturally speaking. But at any rate, other people took over. And by the early 1970s, you have Gloria Steinem, emerging as the face of feminism, and Betty Friedan resented it. She said, "Oh, Gloria goes to Kenneth to have her hair streaked," which was true, right? And Gloria Steinem was very telegenic, at a time when television was very important, and I admired her. It's going to be hard to believe, but Time magazine, that yes, I subscribe to, actually asked the question, in the early 70s, who would make a good, first woman president? And I wrote in Gloria Steinem. Do you believe it? And because I said, oh, when age has dimmed her beauty and so on. All right. Now I thought better of it. Later on, but so Steinem. Steinem has a man problem. So this anti-male thing got embedded into feminism from a lot of these. There's some women who are really borderline crazy women at the very beginning. Some of them are really radical ones, right? But Steinem, she's not an original creator of ideas. But she was a wonderful presence. I mean, she's the one who really established that it was possible to be a reasonable person, and an attractive woman, and be a feminist. That people are not always like Andrea Dworkin, and so on, like that. All right. So what happened was I tried to join. I mean, I'm like this completely heterodox personality, aggressive, always in trouble, et cetera, et cetera. I tried to join the women's movement. I got booted out again and again and again. I've written about it. Like when it was 1970, 71, when I had almost that fist fight, with the New Haven Women's Liberation Rock Band, all right, because I was defending the Rolling Stones, and I had this huge screaming argument about the Rolling Stones song, Under My Thumb, and I said, look, Under My Thumb, the lyrics are sexist, yes, all right, but this is a great song, and in fact, it's a work of art, and I still maintain that Under My Thumb is a work of art. You had the incredible marimba, of Brian Jones in there. It's phenomenal. And also, if you listen to the lyrics in an intelligent manner, you can see that it's about a power reversal. That's almost like something out of William Blake, where once she had me down, now I've got her down. Well, in William Blake, she'll get him down again in the next, cycle, et cetera. It's like the whole power dynamic of sex. But oh my God, that was like a hard. They were practically spitting in my face. They said, I said, this is a work of art. Art. Nothing that demeans women can be art. Did you hear that? I'm going to repeat it. All right. These feminists, rock musicians said, nothing that demeans women can be art. Right there, you have it, the Stalinist view of art, okay? I follow Oscar Wilde. My first influence, okay, it was like a book called The Epigrams of Oscar Wilde that I stumbled on in a secondhand bookstore in Syracuse when I was 14, all right? And there's maxims about art and about the independence of art and art's freedom from philanthropy and humanitarians and all these do-gooders and so on, right? And I didn't quite understand everything in that book, but now I understand it, okay? Everyone who wants to clean up art, make art politically correct, okay? Make it manageable, okay? Make it palatable, okay? And so I mean, we need another Oscar Wilde right now. But wait, now back to your question. Wait, what was your question? It was about all right.
I think it was about the second wave of feminism.
Yeah.
And who would you call one of the leaders of the second wave of feminism?
Yeah, okay, so it's like Gloria Steinem is the face, of feminism, all right? Kate Millett was put on the cover of Time magazine for her book, okay, Sexual Politics, and she didn't particularly like the attention or want the attention from it, so Sexual Politics is the book 1970 that, or is it 71, that created the template, okay, of which is this, taking ideology, wading into some famous book by a male artist, okay, and with your rubber stamp going misogyny, sexism, like that, so on. Kate Millett created that style, okay, all right, and even to this day, people go on about her. She was this, she was that. Well, after the Betty Friedan, the anniversary of that book, okay, and I contributed to like roundtable things talking about the impact of that book. I thought, I want to take another look at Sexual Politics again. And I looked at that book, and I think there's a lot of problems with that book, okay? There are all kinds of problems because it's, to me, it's very odd that Kate Millett, okay, that for the rest of her life, she never wrote a paragraph that was even remotely like that book. All right? She went out. She wrote memoirs. She wrote all kinds of other things. She became a sculptor, up the Hudson or whatever she was doing, and so on. And I really think that someone needs to dig into the history of that book. Okay, because I hear a voice in that book that is not her voice. Okay? I hear another voice. I think it's a man's voice. Okay, all right, and it's one of her professors. It's either a professor that she had at Oxford or it's a professor at Columbia. All right, and I think it's she in her in the acknowledgments, she does have a list of names, and there was a mention of a couple of male professors and so on. But I think that if this book which became so important and monumental and still remembered as a landmark of new feminism and so on, if I want it to be admitted the degree to which a man, okay, used his knowledge, okay, his syntax, okay, right, and contributed to that book, okay. She did not honestly acknowledge how much. I mean, I don't think it was all that, okay, but I hear a voice that is distinctly older than our generation, because she was like my generation, I think, roughly. Although I think she's a little older than me, but there was a certain sound of that Columbia professors had that I began to pick up because I have met and had such great relationships with actually graduates of Columbia, the Great Books program of Columbia. For some reason, we're on the same. Well, for some reason, it's obvious. Okay, they have read all the great books, right? And therefore, their minds are structured, okay, and organized in ways that post-structuralism can't even hope to do. All right, but anyway, then later on there was Andrea Dworkin, okay, in the 1980s. She became a leading figure of second wave feminism. And then there was the third wave in the 1990s that sort of sputtered up and sputtered out. And there was like Naomi Wolf and Susan Faludi, who Gloria Steinem embraced, okay, in a famous Time magazine cover. You could find it on the web, okay, where they look like terrorists or like underground people clinging to each other in a bare room. People said, well, what kind of vision of feminism is that? These two women, but that's where Gloria Steinem gave her, imprimatur to Susan Faludi, who you'll notice Susan Faludi's career immediately sank after that. I mean, she came with a memoir about 2 years ago about her father, and having now turned transgender and wherever he is in Europe, and now she's recounting the horrors of her childhood. Her father, attacking her mother's lover, okay, with a knife all over the house, blood all over the house. I thought, this is her childhood, right? I want feminists, to come from good families, okay, and solid families. I don't. Why is every single feminist, like Tracy, Gloria Steinem? I mean, she's written a lot about it. Like her mother was mentally disturbed, and Gloria Steinem had to nurse her. The father abandoned them to a rat-filled apartment, and so on. This is why they're so anti-male. Okay, they're just anti their fathers. It's not right. I have been trying to get the anti-male obsession of feminism out of it, okay, for decade after decade after decade. And I constantly say, only weak women cannot admit the strength of men and of the great achievements of men. Okay, I've learned incredible amount from men. Okay, all right. I admire men. Okay, all right. I don't feel I have to say, oh, they're all toxic and they're all and like always. Little claws out and so on and so forth. All right, and it's gotten really bad. You all know how bad it's gotten. Okay, where everything about anything masculine is automatically defined. Okay, as a social construction. All right, please. Okay, my father's generation went to World War II. Okay, my father was a paratrooper. I've got all my uncles. They were in the Navy, and, in the Army, and so on. Okay, I saw men. Okay, men who could do anything. Okay, men who could take a piece of wood and make capable men. Okay. Men who respected women. There was no abuse, okay, that I was ever, not, my whole Italian-American experience upstate New York, never an example of anyone dishonoring a woman or abusing a woman, okay? These were incredibly, talented men who could do anything, okay? I could have knuckle, my uncle would make on his off hours, absolutely work of art, okay, and so on. My grandfather would be making baskets in the backyard. They worked, they gave to women and children. Men have been sacrificing for women and children for millennia. And so instead we have all this focus on the horrors of men, the worst men, the brutal men, okay? Well, every brutal person should be jailed, okay? Obviously. Oh, sorry, am I going on too long?
I think we're actually out of time.
Oh.